The movie starts with Tyler Durden holding a gun to a man's mouth, asking if he has any last words. The man says he can't think of anything, so Tyler walks to the window. He has planted a bomb in a car in the basement, and he's confident their plan will succeed. Next, we see a support group for men with testicular cancer. The man is paired with Bob, who is crying and expressing his emotions. Bob explains that, 8 months ago, his testosterone was too high, which caused him to grow breasts. Meanwhile, the man is at work, deep in thought, when he starts to hallucinate. His coworker, Richard, interrupts and tells him he needs to leave town for a week to address some problems. The man asks if he should deprioritize his reports, but Richard insists he should focus on what he's already been given. He hands the man flight tickets and leaves. Later, the man is in a restroom, shopping for furniture and house supplies. He orders dust ruffles. The man then visits the doctor, who tells him his insomnia won't kill him. The man asks about narcolepsy because he's been waking up in strange places, not knowing how he got there. The doctor reassures him that he just needs natural sleep. When the man mentions he's in pain, the doctor suggests he attend a support group for men with testicular cancer on Tuesday nights, saying that's where he'll find real pain. That night, the man goes to the support group meeting. He listens to the other men share their stories. Afterward, the classic therapy breakthrough, tears, hugs, and a wet shirt. It's almost as if the man was really ready to let it out, or maybe Bob's shirt was just that absorbent. Either way, peace was found, at last, thanks to a good cry. The man starts attending various support groups for different conditions. He enjoys the emotional sharing with different people, but the truth is, he has no illness, he's just addicted to the experience. During his meditations, he imagines a powerful penguin telling him to slide. Bob thinks the man is suffering, and he feels connected to him. One day, a woman named Marla shows up at the support group. Unlike the others, the man is immediately drawn to her. He notices her at every meeting, even imagining grabbing her and shouting during the hug session. Her presence disturbs him, especially since he hasn't slept in 4 days. During the meeting, Chloe, a cancer patient, is given the chance to speak. Chloe's not afraid of death, but a partner for a private issue. Now that's an unexpected twist. Before she can explain further, the group leader interrupts and leads the group in meditation. Marla is also there, and during the meditation, the man sees her instead of his penguin. Later, the man confronts Marla, accusing her of faking her illness. He tells her he's seen her in different support groups and warns her he'll expose her. Marla, unfazed, threatens to do the same to him. When the group is asked to hug, Marla pretends to cry, but the man isn't moved. He tells her he wants to cry, but not with her, and tells her to find someone else. Marla leaves, and the man follows her, trying to argue about which support group they should attend. They finally agree on a schedule, and before she leaves, they exchange contact numbers. The man then travels to different cities for work, experiencing new people, food, and environments. While on a trip, he checks on a burned car. As a recall coordinator, his job is to apply formulas, but the car is completely destroyed and useless. On a plane ride, the man meets Tyler. Tyler comments on the man's safety protocol and suggests he ask the flight attendant to reset him. Their conversation flows easily, and the man notices they have the same briefcase. Tyler gives him a business card, telling him his job is to make soap. Upon reaching his destination, the man finds his bag has been confiscated by security for an unknown reason. When he returns to his hometown, he discovers his apartment has burned down, and he's lost everything. In a moment of frustration, he calls Marla but hangs up when she answers. Instead, he calls Tyler, and they meet at a bar. The man explains that he's lost all his possessions, furniture, materials, everything. Tyler reassures him that it's already gone and advises him to focus on being perfect, rather than trying to adapt to the situation. After leaving the bar, the man is uncertain about which hotel to stay at, and Tyler invites him to his house. The man soon learns that Tyler works as a projectionist at a theater, responsible for switching projectors at the precise moment. On the side, Tyler works as a banquet waiter at a luxury hotel. Though his behavior is questionable, he urinates on the food. Tyler asks for a punch, and the man obliges, though he goes for the ear, not the face. Classic move. It's all fun and games until someone gets an earful, literally. What started as a friendly brawl quickly escalates into a more beat-up competition. After the fight, Tyler takes the man to his house. The house is old, nearly empty, and clearly abandoned. The stairs have collapsed, the doors lack locks, and the pipes are non-functional. Tyler gives the man a room to stay in. The fighting continues, and soon other men join in, watching and participating in the scene. Tyler and the man spend the night together in this unusual setting. Meanwhile, Richard, the man's boss, asks for the report, which the man submits. Later, Tyler asks the man who he could fight next. The man suggests his boss, but when asked in return, Tyler answers that he'd fight his father. He then shares a story about how his father treated him. The fighting between Tyler and the man begins to attract more men. They form a fight club in a private space at a club, with Tyler as the leader. Tyler lays down the rules, most importantly, not to talk about the fight club. The men continue fighting, stripped down to their shorts and shoes, surrounded by a growing crowd. Among the men is a familiar face from the man's work at the hotel. The next day, the man gets a call from Marla. He's surprised when he hears it's her. She mentions she hasn't seen him in a while, and he tells her he has joined a new support group. Excited, she asks about it, but he informs her it's only for men. He doesn't enjoy the conversation and abruptly hangs up the phone before leaving. Tyler's door closes, which immediately throws the man off. He finds Marla at the house, and after a brief, frustrating exchange, she leaves. Tyler soon shows up, explaining he met Marla after the man hung up. They went to her restaurant, but before anything could happen, the police showed up. They end up back at Tyler's apartment, spending intimate time together. The man is disturbed by the relationship, especially as it continues into the night. Later, Richard notices the man's blood-stained clothes and his state smoking inside the office and tells him to take the rest of the day off and return on Monday with clean clothes. The man accepts the offer and heads back to Tyler's place. Soon after, the man receives a call from Detective Stern, who tells him about the incident at his apartment. The detective informs him that someone had intentionally sprayed Freon into the front door lock, leaving the man confused and unsettled. The detective asks if the man has any enemies who might have access to dynamite, and they arrange a meeting before ending the call. Meanwhile, Marla continues talking about strange things, claiming the man spent the night with her. She tries to touch him inappropriately, but it ends in disagreement, and she leaves the house. Tyler and the man go to the hospital to search through the trash for fat to make soap. They manage to avoid getting caught by security and take the dirty liquid back to Tyler's house. There, they mix it with various chemicals. Tyler explains the soap-making process in great detail, surprising the man with how much he knows. At one point, Tyler pours a chemical on the man's hand. The man yells in pain as it burns, but Tyler insists it's a lesson. He tells the man that life is about suffering and teaches him to embrace pain. He shows his own burned hand and pours vinegar on the man's to neutralize the burn and treat it. Later, Tyler sells the soap for $20. Richard is upset when he finds the rules of the Fight Club in the man's report. He asks the man what he would do if he found something like that. The man responds by suggesting Richard bring a weapon and start shooting around the office. Richard, confused, says he's just trying to be a nice guy. Their conversation is interrupted when Marla calls, asking the man to come over to check a lump in her breast. The man goes to see her but finds that the lump isn't serious, she's fine. Later, the man encounters Bob on the road. Bob hugs him, relieved, and says he thought the man was dead. The man then realizes that Bob is also part of the Fight Club, though their schedules didn't align. They head to the Fight Club together, where they end up fighting each other. However, the man can't handle Bob's strength and is easily defeated. After the fight, Bob grabs the man, checking if he's hurt. Tyler notices new faces and reminds the group that they've broken the Fight Club's rules. Before they can discuss it further, a man named Lou arrives with his guard. Lou demands they leave the basement, and his guard, holding a gun, silences anyone who tries to speak. Tyler confronts Lou, who reveals that he owns the basement. Frustrated, Lou kicks Tyler repeatedly. Despite bleeding, Tyler remains unafraid. He leaps over Lou and pours his own blood onto Lou's face. Impressed or intimidated, Lou finally agrees to let them continue using the basement. He then leaves. With the basement secured, Tyler commands the Fight Club to fight with strangers, pushing their chaos further. In a fit of madness, the man confronts his boss, Richard, threatening him. Richard, overwhelmed, fires him. The man insists on staying on as an outside consultant, but Richard refuses and calls security. In a bizarre turn, the man starts kicking himself, hurting himself and falling onto the table. When security arrives, they find the man wounded, and Richard is taken aback. As a parting gift, Richard hands him 52 paychecks and 48 airline flight coupons. The man also takes his computer, telephone, and fax machine with him, leaving the office in a chaotic, almost absurd manner. Later, Tyler assigns the Fight Club members a new task: to destroy materials, buildings, banners, and stores. Tyler and the man participate in this chaos, even breaking into a stranger's car. The two then go to a store, where Tyler forces the store owner, Raymond, to bow by pointing a gun at his head. Tyler shares some personal information and asks Raymond what he really wanted to be before becoming a salesman. Raymond, terrified and crying, admits that he wanted to be a veterinarian. To Raymond and the man's surprise, Tyler commands him to become a veterinarian within 6 weeks. He then tells Raymond to run. The man discovers that the gun Tyler used was unloaded. Marla tells the man that Chloe is dead. When he asks when it happened, she dismissively replies that he doesn't care. Shifting the conversation, the man asks her what she got out of the support group. Hesitating, she says she got someone. When she asks him in return, he explains that it's a different thing for him. Suddenly, the man is distracted by a noise coming from the basement, but Marla doesn't hear it. She tries to keep the conversation going, but the man spots Tyler in the basement. He acts awkwardly, trying to hide his internal thoughts. Marla notices his hand wound and asks him who did it. He replies that it doesn't matter and reflects back on Tyler, signaling that their conversation is over. Marla leaves the house. Tyler is working on bringing in applicants to his house, but there's a harsh prerequisite. The applicants must stand at the door for 3 days without food or water to qualify for training. Tyler continuously degrades the applicants, but one of them endures, standing for 3 days despite the cruel treatment from both Tyler and the man. He finally makes it into the team. Bob comes in as the second applicant, but on his first day, Tyler tells him that Bob is too old. Bob takes his bag and leaves, but the man stops him and helps him pass the test. Day by day, more applicants join the team, and everyone becomes involved in their various tasks. One day, the man watches the news, where Commissioner Jenkins is giving a report about a series of apartment fires. The man is shocked, but the other Fight Club members laugh. When he asks them what they did, Bob replies that the first rule is not to ask questions. Later, Tyler and his team pose as waiters at an event. When the commissioner goes to the bathroom, all the Fight Club members surround him. Tyler warns the commissioner to call off the investigation and publicly deny the existence of any underground group. After giving the commissioner this warning, the group leaves the hotel and splits up, running in different directions. The man then gets into a fight with another club member, but this time, he's not weak. He dominates the fight, kicking the other member in the face again and again, shocking the rest of the group. Later, the man asks Tyler why he didn't tell him about Project Mayhem. A man in the backseat whispers, "The first rule is not to ask questions." The man and Tyler then get into a conflict. Tyler loses focus, nearly crashing the car into an oncoming truck. Tyler admits that he's the one who burned the man's apartment and advises him to let go of everything. The man agrees, but Tyler, speeding up the car, crashes into another vehicle. While the man is unconscious after the crash, Tyler leaves him behind, wishing him to feel better as he walks away. The next day, the man calls Tyler but finds no answer. He asks the team, but according to the rule of Project Mayhem, no one is allowed to ask questions. Feeling abandoned, the man begins to think that Tyler has dumped him. That night, Marla arrives and is confused when she sees a team of men. The man tells her that Tyler is no longer around. Sad, Marla leaves. The team gets disturbed. When the man enters his house, he discovers Bob shot in the head. Bob and the team had tried to destroy a piece of corporate art, and the group decided to bury him. However, the man refuses. The team begins calling Bob by his full name, Robert Paulson, as a tribute. It's a small gesture, but in a world of chaos, even the simplest acts of respect seem to stand out. The man then decides to visit different cities and bars, searching for Tyler. At one point, he learns from another Fight Club member that no one really knows Tyler, and that Tyler undergoes plastic surgery every 3 years. However, the man doesn't fully trust this information. One day, the man visits another bar, where the waiters keep calling out, "Robert Paulson." When the bartender greets him, he's confused and asks if the bartender knows him. The bartender, thinking it's a test, reassures him, mentioning he was there the previous Thursday and even shows him a wound on his hand. The bartender calls him Tyler, deepening the man's confusion. In a hurry, he heads straight to the hotel, trying to make sense of it all. At the hotel, he confronts Marla, asking her if they've ever had private time together. Confused, she reassures him, but his strange behavior unsettles her. She then calls him Tyler before hanging up the phone. Tyler suddenly appears behind the man and confronts him, saying he broke his promise by revealing everything to Marla. The man asks Tyler why people think he is him, but Tyler responds with the same question. As the man processes this, memories flood his mind, and he realizes that he's been doing everything Tyler has been doing. In that moment, he declares that they are the same person. The man had been talking to himself the entire time, fighting his own internal battle, imagining Tyler as his ally. But the truth hits him, there's no way he could have been the one doing everything. Overwhelmed, he faints. When the man wakes up, he rushes out of the hotel, heading back to his home. Upon arriving, he finds it empty. In a flashback, he recalls many moments and tries to contact people who might be affected by the Project Mayhem plan, but they don't respond, despite his warnings. Panicked, the man grabs all the documents he can find and heads out to find Marla. She's done with his erratic behavior and tells him to leave her alone, but he insists on following her. He gives her money to leave the city, urging her to stay safe and not contact him again. Next, the man goes to the police station and confesses, saying he is the leader of a terrorist group and demands to be arrested. A group of detectives begins to investigate him. He hands them all the information about Project Mayhem, including plans to blow up the headquarters of the credit card companies and the TRW building. When Detective Stern asks why, the man explains that the goal is to erase all debt records and reset everything to zero. As Stern steps out for a phone call, the other detectives confront the man, reminding him of the harsh rules of Project Mayhem. Anyone who interferes, even him, is to have their private parts cut off. They grab him and drag him to a table. In a panic, the man seizes their guns and escapes from the police station with his documents, narrowly avoiding a grim fate. The man reaches the building, where he believes he finds Tyler, but it's all a hallucination. In a moment of desperation, he tries to shoot Tyler. He then heads to the basement and finds a bomb, desperately attempting to deactivate it. Before he can, Tyler confronts him, and they get into a violent conflict. However, the security cameras show the man fighting with himself. There is no Tyler on the footage. The man shouts in frustration, misses a shot, and then fires again, hitting himself, but Tyler remains unscathed and continues to attack him. The security camera continues to show only the man, confirming the disturbing truth that Tyler isn't physically there. Tyler drags the man into another room, where the man's hands are now tied. Tyler feels a sense of accomplishment, believing they've succeeded in their mission, seeing the collapse of the financial system as they planned. He pushes the chair the man is tied to toward the window. At that moment, the man sees Marla and begs Tyler to stop. After much internal conflict, the man suddenly finds a gun. He points it at himself, shouting, but he doesn't die. Instead, he shoots near his neck, injuring himself. At that moment, Tyler vanishes. The man's Fight Club team appears, and he reassures them that he's fine. When Marla arrives, he commands the team to wait downstairs. Marla, upset and frantic, calms down when she sees the man's neck wound. He reassures her that everything will be okay. As they stand together, the building outside begins to collapse, signaling the chaotic end of everything.